This time I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Board meeting for the City of Lake City, 1st November 2022. All please rise for the pledge and the invocation. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and with justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Lord, we just ask that you be at our meeting today and give us good insight to make the proper decisions we need to make. Bless the proponents that come before us. Bless us to make the right decisions. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Mr. Angelo, please call roll.
Ms. McCollum?
Here.
Mr. Nelson?
Here.
Mr. Cooper?
Here.
Mr. McMahon?
Here.
Mr. Carter?
Here.
And Mr. Leidy.
Present. Electronically, the meeting minutes of 10/4/2022 were distributed to all members of the board. I trust everyone's had a chance to review them. This time, are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the meeting minutes as presented to us? No. Seeing none, is there a motion for their adoption as submitted?
Move to
Motion.
approve. I'll second.
Motion Carter, second McMahon. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Carries unanimously. Old business, we have none at this time. New business, we have two items. Petition CPA 22-07 and Z 22-06, both under the same proponent, Grand Reserve at Pelham LLC. The agent acting on behalf of proponent, Dalton Kurtz, is not in attendance this evening. Do we have a motion on the floor to table both of these petitions until such time as the petitioner or an agent thereof can attend the meeting?
Motion to table CPA 22-7 and C 22-06.
Motion Carter, second Cooper. Do we have any discussion in regards to tabling these two petitions? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Angelo, please call the vote.
Ms. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
And Mr. Leidy.
Yay. CPA 22-07 and Z 22-06 will be tabled for a future meeting. Mr. Angelo, can you please reach out to the proponents or agents thereof to ensure that they understand what's taking place? This time there is no additional new business. Moving to workshop items, it does say none on here. However, I think there was a miscommunication between myself and Mr. Angelo. He did put discussion items under workshop for HPA, but at this time, since we do have a new board and a new board year, one thing that just to make the records and the minutes work out for this meeting, I would like to move or call for a motion that for this year of the Planning and Zoning Board, we vote to reapprove the rules of order as worked out by this board and Ms. Mavis Georgalis as we continue to tweak and codify the rules by which this board operates under Article 3 of the city's land development regulations. We can address those on a case-by-case basis. Do we have a motion to readopt the rules of business as we've been operating under?
I'll move to approve.
Motion McMahon?
Second.
Second Carter. Would you please call the roll?
Yep.
I'm sorry, additional discussion prior to calling roll?
We had a gentleman just walk in, maybe who we were waiting on.
I believe it is. Let's get through adoption of rules of the board and then we can vote to take off the table his petition. Any discussion about readopting the rules as previously? Okay, no discussion. Mr. Angelo, please call the ayes and the nays.
Ms. McCollum? Mr. Cooper?
Yay.
Mr. McMahon?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
And Mr. Laydick?
Yay. All right. Previous year's rules have been readopted for order of business. This time I do see we've had a late arrival. Are you Mr. Dalton Kurtz?
Not.
Are you Lindsay Oij? Which petition are you bringing in front of the board tonight?
Well, we were at sign variance. So
For this Circle K.
Okay, that'll be Board of Adjustment. Very good. Good. Very nice. As far as any additional workshop items, is there anything during this year that members of this board would like to see brought up at future workshops that you can think of at this time? Or would you like to be given some time to forward ideas along to Mr. Angelo, myself, and Mr. Carter about things strictly under the rubric of planning and zoning, maybe not Board of Adjustment or Historic Preservation Authority, but are there items that you would like to see brought into workshops for discussion, clarification, or just educational enrichment about the planning and zoning process throughout the course of this administrative year?
Yeah, if we could be given some time.
Okay.
That would be appropriate.
Be thinking about those, and when you forward them along through city email channels, please make sure that it's going to Mr. Angelo, the vice chair, and myself when those ideas come forth. And we'll farm it out to the rest of the board and see if we can put together some meaningful workshop sessions for some of these meetings, possibly quarterly, to take place throughout the calendar year. Any other comments or anything else for the good of the board? There being none, do we have a motion to adjourn Planning and Zoning Board?
Motion to adjourn Planning and Zoning Board.
Second.
Motion Carter, and was that a second on Cooper? Very nice. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very good. Planning and Zoning Board meeting closes at 43 minutes after 5. This time I'd like to call to order the Board of Adjustment, City of Lake City, 1 November 2022. Roll call shall remain the same. Likewise to the Planning and Zoning Board, meeting minutes were distributed electronically, these being the meeting minutes of September 13th, 2022. I trust that all members of the board have had the opportunity to review the electronic minutes as submitted. At this time, are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes as they were sent forth? Seeing none, is there a motion for their adoption?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt in a second. That was motion Cooper, was that Ms. Mary on the second?
I thought somebody else did.
Oh, okay, Mr. Carter on the second. All in favor of adoption of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We have minutes adopted. There being no old business for the Board of Adjustment, we'll move into new business. New business, we have petition V22-02 from Asbury Investments LLC. At this time, do we have anyone to speak for or against this variance as proponent? Please approach.
Do you have the parcel ID number for this? I actually have some documents that I was gonna give to y'all.
I can get you a parcel ID real quick. Oh,
Yeah,
Parcel ID is 35-3S-16-02524-001.
yes, that is,
I've got a different one. Is this for the Circle K?
It is.
Okay, that must have been on the project summary that was different, okay.
Can I get this? So, yes.
Let me swear you in first.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony that you're going to give tonight is the truth to the best of your knowledge, so help you God?
I do.
Very nice. Can you please give your name with spelling and legal address of record to Mr. Angelo, our administrator?
From here?
Yes.
Okay. Christopher Posey, CHRISTOPHERPOSEY.
And your address?
For the business?
Your home address.
Okay, all right, 191 Weeks Road, Sparks, Georgia, 31647.
Okay, and before you distribute those additional materials, Mr. Angelo, would you like to introduce this petition, and then we will allow the petitioner to provide further details?
Okay.
All right, so this petition is for Circle K, it's for a sign variance. It's V22-02. The variance is for a 100-foot sign in lieu of a 35-foot sign. The LDR and the commercial highway interchange calls for a 35-foot height restriction, but they are proposing for a 100-foot high sign. Due to the proximity to the interstate and be able to get up over the trees is the reasoning for that. I have spoken with North Florida Planning Council, and they said that that is the norm for a commercial highway interchange is 100 foot. They don't know why our LDR is still at 35 foot. So they're actually going to see about rewriting that to bring that up to 100 foot so we don't have to do the variances in the future. That's it.
Very nice. Mr. Chris, would you please approach? All right, in addition to what was just introduced by Mr. Angelo, please explain the petition details as presented in your packet.
Okay, so we were planning to have the variance change, or the size, the height change to 100 feet. And that was due to visibility from the interstate side. From the interstate side, we actually did a visibility test with the crane truck. We went in and we had someone stand on that side, and as we raised it, we started at 60 feet, it wasn't visible. We raised it higher, it still wasn't visible from that side. And then we got up to 80 feet. It was visible, but the pricer on the sign was not visible. And then so we continued on up to 100 feet, and at 100 feet, both were visible. So that's where we stopped, at 100 feet being the height for our variance. I have some photos here.
And based on what I'm seeing on page 4 of 5 of your drawings here, this is the dynamic pricing sign?
Yes. Which actually, you may have these photos. Do you have these visibility photos and all?
We have some photos, right?
It's just a few different. Bob Evans high-rise across from Circle K, that sort of thing. Yeah, right. The Denny's high-rise
Yep.
and the Shell high-rise, which are already over, the height as well, the 35 feet by a long shot. We were just looking to join that, being they're on the same side of the road as what the Circle K is going to be going in. We were just, trying to do right by the customer as well. So, but you already have all these, so you don't need these.
Now, are these all self-lit signs, or is there going to be large spotlights on the ground pointing up any portion of
These
it?
are illuminated signs,
Okay.
so they will be lit themselves. Are there any questions for me?
Any other questions for the proponent?
I'd like to make a motion to approve V22-02.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of petition V22-02. Is there any further discussion amongst the board prior to a vote? I do have one question. Mr. Angelo, You had indicated our city LDRs are still cut off at about 30 to 35 feet. If I'm not mistaken, once you get south of city limits to the next exit to the south onto county-zoned property,
Correct.
that does increase up to about 100 feet, right? Some of those petrol
Most
stations
municipalities are at 100 foot for commercial highway interchange.
and planning council's willing to go ahead and take the bull by the horns on getting us an amendment to bring us into an apples to apples comparison with the rest of the county, or would we have to request that?
We'll have to request it, and, but they are willing to do that for us.
Sweet. Any further discussion amongst members of the board or city administrators? All right, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Angelo, please call the yeas and nays.
Ms. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
And Mr. Laydick?
Yay. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, you got a 100-foot sign.
Cool.
There being no additional new business to conduct this evening, we'll move to workshop items. Again, now that we are out of planning and zoning and into Board of Adjustment, just as a housekeeping matter, do we have a motion to adopt the rules of order and business that we have been operating under last year for the coming year?
Motion to adopt the rules and orders of business as they were last year.
Also,
I mean, here.
Carter to readopt, Cooper on the second. Any additional discussion amongst members of the board regarding readoption of the rules? There being none, Mr. Angelo, please call the yeas and the nays.
Ms. McCollum?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
And Mr. Laydick?
Yay. Very good, we have rules. Additionally, under workshop items, I'd like to, again, reach out to all members of the board. If there are certain items in regards to the duties and functions of the Board of Adjustment or the variance process that you would like to learn more about, or you would like to present on, or you would like to just generally cover, please be thinking about those over the next month until we meet again. If you do email in some suggestions, again, I admonish you, please make sure that those are going to Mr. Angelo, your board's vice chair, and myself, and we'll get those formatted and into the next set of agendas. And if there's an issue we want to discuss, we'll have ourselves a little workshop.
That'd be good.
For the good of the board, is there any additional things that members of the board would like to mention, or are we ready to move adjournment?
I think we're ready to move.
Yes.
Got a motion down there, Mr. Cooper?
That's a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second down here with Miss Mary. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
All opposed? You can stay here. All right, finished with that one.